Welcome back, guys. We're here on the Opposite Day broadcast, where all the teams that are lower in the rankings turn out to win all the games. KT Rolster come in with Gango on Draven, which for some reason wasn't banned. Comes out, carries the game hardcore, and SKT go down to KT. And does that mean that KT could potentially pick up the 2-0 after today's first series as well? Certainly seems likely.
And it almost feels like they need it, Valdez. Yes, they have a series in hand against their fellow strugglers, Gen.G and FLICKR. But Gen.G are at 4 match wins, FLICKR at 4. When you're down the bottom, you got to take your wins where you can get them. And now it feels like Gen.G has a bonus win because they took down Griffin. KT need to do some giant slaying, otherwise they might just be a match behind and have the ignominy of going from Worlds as first seeds into relegation. And you got to take your victories when you can get them, and game 1 being a 1-0 lead won't happen for KT every time. Looking at some signs around the arena.
Not sure that it's FLICKR with
a tortoise?
a nacho?
We're losing a reference somewhere here. We'll go with it. He's a slowpoke, I guess. I don't know. Who knows what it means? Speaking of slowpokes, old man Score picked up the victory in game number 2. Score wasn't playing in that first Telecom war. KT Rolster will not be swept, I should say, not slept. Swept by SKT.
There was a Zoe in that game.
That's true. She just couldn't find her way past the front line, though. FLICKR gleefully accepted the Zoe, but the takeaway Lissandra is actually BDD's first win on Lissandra.
Yeah.
A lot of firsts here. Is there a world where Gango gets Draven again? Is the biggest scenario. You know what's a world that does exist? Let me tell you something for sure. The fact that finally Smeb won with this last pick, counter pick Fiora, means that some more of Smeb's mad scientist picks are coming out. He's justified it. He last picked and won, therefore it was all him.
We'll have to wait and see what's next. Of course, KT this time is on the blue side, so takes a little bit away of that last pick counter picking, but we'll see if this does make it into a game 3 or if KT can somehow bring out the 2-0.
So, KT Rolster, I think if Draven is left open, it would have to be first pick, which sounds insane, but do remember that Teddy is also a Draven player. So, I'm interested to see if SKT wants to go for a clever ruse here or pull the wool over on KT. LeBlanc being banned does mean that Zoe, which can contend with that matchup, is the very obvious tier list pick mid laner. We'll see what it means for the Lissandra that we know has been KT's takeaway pick from SKT as recently as game number 1.
SKT thinking long and hard about these bans here. Eventually end up with Lissandra, as they say. And we know BDD's 1-4 on the pick, but he looked good in that last game, and, well, it's just a great champion right now.
What does it mean for Zoe? That's what we're trying to work out. Zoe is the preeminent mid laner available in the draft. KT would have to first pick it, you would imagine, but then they have that Draven wrinkle that's so weird. And I love this ban. Braum has been one of Mata's go-to. He also had a Galio performance where the fight they took was unnecessary and a big reason that Draven got going. Now the Braum is gone, and Braum against Draven at level 1 can send a team behind because of his power of his level 1, so it's a nice ban. It also means that Zoe first pick is stronger because Braum is not there to catch the Paddle Stars or the Trouble Bubble damage. The Draven will be banned, and I want to tell a fun little story as I imagine Zoe will be looked at from KT. Could be other choices. Ryze and Jace are available, and they're going to take away Jace this time after SKT had to ban in game number 1. I saw Umti backstage before the series started. I'm like, all right, Gango's in the lineup. Show me a Draven game. He kind of laughed awkwardly. And they played a Draven game, and I saw him on the way to the bathroom, and he said, how did you know about the Draven? And I was like, mate, there was a sign. The fans knew. Everyone knows he plays Draven. It wasn't a surprise. No poker face required. But he was like dumbfounded that I apparently spent more than 1 second investigating who Gango was. Well, I think we might know our top lane matchup.
Looks likely. Of course, the Vlad can be flexed. And it's the first time it's looked at, even though it has a ridiculous win rate here in professional play in LCK. But they decide to first round it. So, okay, Hillbilly Gragas is back, and so is Yasuo. They're not wasting any time with this one.
We already know what KT's comp does. Jay splits, and then Yasuo and Gragas kill people in the 4v4. There's no wave clear here, though. on the side of KT, Yasuo, Gragas, Jace. Yes, Jace, but he's going to be in the split push in the side lane. Don't want to group with him necessarily. So let's see how they respond to this. They know the Rumble pit is happening, and SKT say, we're ready to Rumble as well. This is like that 2000s wrestling movie, Ready to Rumble, because both teams are saying, let's just fight. Apparently, Jarvan, Galio, Vlad, what do they do? Fight. What do Gragas and Yasuo do? Fight. What does Jace do? Kind of watch the fight. But he'll try and be there. If he gets far enough ahead, that's true.
You know?
But if he goes into hammer time, Vlad, Galio, and Jarvan kill him. So he's going to be watching. He's the viewers in this case. We are, in fact, all Jace right now. Tristana ban coming out. Saw the Tristana bans in our first series against Ruler. Wonder how many bans we have to see to a certain Vayne start tumbling around. These are the sort of comps that really do a number on Vayne, because there's so much AoE that she can't find times to tumble. However, Vayne's in the water, clearly. We've seen a lot of Vayne recently, so there's a very real chance we see it anyway. SKT double banning against SnowFlower. He is one of the most famous Thresh players in Korea. They get rid of the Alistair, and now Playmakers. And remember, that is what you respect from KT are gone. You know who got buffed on 9.5? Your boy Rakan. And I wonder if SnowFlower will dust off the Rakan in this game, because it might be necessary.
Yeah, you know, you're banning out a bunch of the good supports for the support that plays it, that can knock up stuff. A Jinx ban here, even coming out, really going down the line here in terms of those late game AD carries that can hyper carry.
We think we know the roles here for SKT, but this is where it gets a bit more tricky, because we're talking about things like Rakan, who's actually pretty high priority if Galio's going mid lane. The Akali got buffed on this patch and is for sure stronger. So we'll see if it will actually be the Akali lock-in that was hovering, and we do see it. The buff here was pretty big for zoning especially. I love the W buff that we'll go on to during the game. I think that's going to be a mid lane, but we don't know for certain on that. You would imagine that into Yasuo seems more comfortable than into Jace. So
it's a lot of AP damage already.
Yeah, it's true.
You think about Akali and Vlad, and even Galio does a bit.
KT Rolster, we know jungle mid and top. We're waiting to find out the entire bot lane against Galio X.
Oh, okay.
Nautilus support. It's not a Rakan, it's an AoE knock-up here, but from range targeted on the R, and we're going to get Lucian and Nautilus for some more different picks on patch 9.5.
I saw the Varus, and I'm like, not a big fan, but then big smile on SnowFlower's face as the Nautilus gets locked in.
All right, this would be a lot of digression. Remember, this would be Vlad bot lane if they were to do it. You have to get an AD here, right? As you mentioned already, a lot of magic damage on the side.
Magic damage in this pick as well, but it's still probably the best AD carry that's left available.
And they will go the Ezreal. You're against Lucians already. I mean, if you watch, say, someone like Sven streaming, whenever the Lucian is up, he picks it, because otherwise, like, crap, if I don't pick it, I have to lane against Lucian. He's always frustrated when it falls through bans, because he has to pick it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to take Ezreal or Kai'Sa, right, when it comes to power level, and a lot of other niche picks were banned out, so they take Ezreal for a bit of safety, but Ezreal's been deprioritized in Korea, and that Gragas cast hits, and he's going to find a good friend in the Yasuo, and Nautilus got the targeted engage in bot lane as well. It's another thick boy with a knock-up. It's not Rakan after all.
That's the thing, you know, the Gragas, the cast can come through, it can be dodged, it can be flashed, you know, you have options against that, but how about a targeted knock-up that slowly chases you down the lane? The Yasuo will eventually get on top of you, you would have to imagine.
Just feels like one of the few comps that could actually render an Ezreal not ultra-high DPS. Win wall. Gragas in the front line, and a Nautilus there as well. There's a real chance that Ezreal has some struggles. Laning phase-wise, Nautilus can be baited really hard. We saw, for example, C9 struggling with this in the 2v2 lane, but it's so reliable in the pickups. And if you get a vision advantage, some control wards around an objective, and you have to deal with face-checking a Nautilus, the most CCs in the game goes to Nautilus. As a passive that's a damn hard crowd control.
Yeah.
Things get tricky. FLICKR bringing back the Akali. The power level is up, but I think Akali going to have to do some heavy lifting for SKT.
Akali, another one that could eat that Nautilus ultimate as well, that just eventually finds you in the smoke. We'll have to wait and see if SKT can pilot it, and we'll have a game 3. Or will it be the 2-2-0s I was predicting in the opposite way? Let's jump into game 2. The SKT chant, louder than ever. Doesn't have that sense of desperation we heard out of the Griffin fans after game number 1, but still shouting their lungs out for their team.
Amusingly, if you look back at game number 1 and then the desperation in the game 2 call, maybe the fans knew it before Griffin knew it. They should be a bit desperate.
Apparently the fans know it before anyone else as well with the Draven call from the fans that even Umti was astounded by.
How did they know he played Draven? He hasn't played in the LCK in months.
We hit it for so long.
Well, Snowflower.
Yeah, I mean,
that sounds both dirty and intense. So it's
it's a real thing, right? And if you say it in Korea and they don't have the F sound, they replace it with a P.
True.
There you go. Maybe that's what he was going for. Maybe originally he was supposed to be SnowFlower.
I think there is actually a story about his name, and that's incorrect. But let's go with what you said. It sounds better.
We'll have to ask him. I mean, it definitely sounds like that could be the reason.
It also sounds like we're going to heavily love Jace in this Vlad matchup. You go fit in an Executioner's calling early. Your Jace lane pressure is pretty immense here. And then you go summon an Airy, and you continue to do physical damage that procs the Executioner's calling. So at the end of the day, this is a really tricky matchup for Vlad. He's going to have no priority top side. In the mid lane, Yasuo versus Akali is a really interesting one. The Akali buff was a pretty big one, Valdez. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it because they're like, lol, she still doesn't have her heal. She's useless. I think how much her ability to zone control with the W buff introduced is really underrated. If you guys didn't know, previously you had to exit and re-enter your Shroud to get half a second extra duration on Shroud, and you do that 6 times for 3 seconds more. Now if you leave once, it's the full 3 seconds, which is pretty massive when it comes to any lane trades, dropping aggro. Oh. Speaking of aggro, Smeb has fallen pretty low on this trade.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying, really, to get these beneficial trades, but look at the items from Vlad. He's cloth 5.
Yeah, that's to stay high.
Bringing it back, man. As Pool is here for Khan. We'll see if he gets a little bit too aggressive as Score, trying to make things work. Early flash from Khan, very respectful.
That was Khan playing to his cooldown. Thank you to Observer switching over to Vlad. He was 2 seconds away from Pool and didn't want to just be instantly burst in 1 round. Didn't have the damage calculation down. So safety first in the item build, but it's actually allowed him to step up until Clid makes it to the top lane.
Clid going to be here with double buff against only red for Score.
And their health bar lead is huge because Khan has chugged all the potions to be full health. There should never be a scenario where a 2v2 happens where Vlad has this much of a health lead. But 4 potions later, Smeb actually looks like he could be taken down. Very interesting approach. We haven't seen Cloth 5 in Pro since it was like almost everybody taking it in Season 2.
Back when that was the only build, right? As, a nice little trade down here. Always want to get a little bit of the Nautilus action in there. Definitely not a champ we see very often as well.
So the Shroud changes. Again, a big fan that you can re-stealth for 3 seconds on if you leave the Shroud at all. Obviously in top lane and a longer lane, they're really big. In a short lane, they're smaller. But remember that Yasuo has no threat on an Akali when you go for the ultimate, right? Because you can drop aggro so easily, just return once, and then you just wait out. A lot of Yasuo's power with the extra damage that he can do if he can actually see you. So I think, yes, in the laning phase, you're not too worried about Yasuo getting a solo kill or anything like that, even though there is the Ignite on both mid laners. If you can go CS for CS and then just out-trade in a team fight and actually get huge value out of that Shroud, zone, say, a Lucian from a fight, or get a kill and zone out another threat, then some of the old threat of Akali is back. So I like the change there. There's been some other small changes, more movement speed around the passive, and just a bit more flat damage on the first charge of E. But to me, the W change is the ones I draw my attention to first.
We saw Jovi hovering the Akali. Was a little bit disappointed we didn't get to see him piloting that one. Obviously a huge Akali player here in Korea. But FLICKR going to give us that one as we get the zoom out here to see both of the junglers heading down towards the bottom side.
Score's been able to subvert the jungle matchup a bit. The only successful gank was his gank topside before he even bought boots. Gango's walking up. Clid really feeling this one.
Oh, he only catches the Nautilus, but do they have the damage anyway?
Oh!
The hook away, but it doesn't matter. First blood goes over to Mata with the Ignite. able to take down the Nautilus in the support fight.
Clear call is successful. They find the kill. No heal on Gango might have been enough. That last auto followed in a targeted sense. Nautilus not the tankiest in a lane trade. Nice punishment from SKT.
Oh, he catches him! The max range
Holy
kill
moly!
Styles on FLICKR.
He knew he didn't have Shroud. It was present. He was far enough away and under turret. He takes it anyway. He got a solo kill in the matchup.
Well, this is the matchup I wanted to see. That wasn't talked about too much, but BDD versus FLICKR. Turns out game one didn't have too much with the Lissandra in it, but Akali versus Yasuo means we get some action.
BDD had the last laugh over FLICKR last year. That was BDD's year, even if it didn't lead to well. Let's get the replay of the bot lane play. The entire suite of CC hits and the Justice Punch means that SnowFlower flashes way later. Important that Mata nailed that one. Here's the replay. So level 5 on both to start the play. Watch the Shroud time. That ends up being important. The wind wall is down. Shroud still available from FLICKR. When does the level 6 come up is the most important thing to track here. He hits level 6, and FLICKR, of course, that's why he's caught. Level 6 into the all-in. Shroud is down, and FLICKR says, you know, that's where FLICKR, we remember his famous tell, right? He cracks the neck. For sure, he cracked the neck there.
FLICKR, no flash now, is trying to get away. Chilling Smite not going to be enough, even with that very fast Gragas. He does get away this time.
Somehow, the fire level of this series and today's games.
Yeah.
Today was last year unskippable, this year on paper eminently skippable. And we've had some of the most entertaining games of the entire season.
Just really been action-packed. You know, sometimes in the LCK we get these massive lull states, but not today. Just a very short one here in the first game of this series, but that's why I really loved some of the changes to those big-time mid picks that were super tanky, because we just get so much more action here in the mid lane now.
FLICKR had other options. Remember, it was a first-round Gragas Yasuo. Speaking of Gragas Yasuo.
Right,
everyone's
next to
coming.
Each other. Okay, we're going to be dunking on the score here, but FLICKR, he gets knocked up, and the damage there from the Gragas is going to be enough. They trade it back, though, with some nice play from the Galio, it looks like, to help out in the damage trade.
Khan's TP was cancelled by Jace, and he didn't have to flash to do it either. You can see from the mini-map, we can infer that one. I'm sure we'll get a replay of it. So 1-for-1 when SKT invested a roam from mid lane and also TP top. And as you point out so succinctly, Valdez, that's a kill bounty, and that's a 20 CS lead with 2 kills for the Yasuo.
Already, even.
This is well anticipated by Clid. Able to go in there, but they just pick up the kill, focusing on damage. Obviously, the wind wall was used earlier, and this is what happens. Just walks in and interrupts it. Can see you channeling the teleport, even with the control ward there. So, looking at his mini-map, gets it a nice little boop, and now there's a TP advantage for Smeb that probably won't be used to gank, but might be used for turret plates.
And this is the scariest thing. Now you have a fed mid lane. You have score camping as well. Obviously, it is the Akali, so she gets away this time, but how about a return gank and just making her useless if she doesn't have her Shroud every time?
In case you guys were looking for a last breath, I don't know if it was a vision issue, but I do know that the last breath was not available till now, so unsure if that one could have been armed or not if the last breath was open, but it wasn't open. Bit of egg on the face from Khan. Now he's super overextended. Gragas is level 6, but the cask is still on cooldown.
Not going to go for that play. We've seen a lot of different plays against a Vlad that plays perfectly go awry, even 2v1, so feel like you're already doing pretty well with your Yasuo in the mid lane. Might as well not overdo it with the ganks.
FLICKR wasn't feeling the Zed pick. I know a lot of people are Zed for bed every time, Zed or bed every time that you see SKT play. It was a first round Yasuo, and they already had Vladimir as a magic damage threat and some other threats like the, you know, little bit of damage the Galio could throw in. So would have had the ability to use it here if they wanted. It's an old matchup people like, but speaking to some Yasuo and Zed players, they're less of a fan of the matchup these days than traditionally was always the way, where it was seen as a counter pick into Yasuo. Yasuo darts around, Zed has that targeted ultimate, and things work out. So because of that, FLICKR wants the Akali. We'll see if in the side lane it works, because in a side lane, we expect that Akali will find her true value, but we're still in a short lane, and right now Akali not love and life, and Smeb does use the TP advantage like we mentioned to get the turret plates rather than to make a gank.
Yeah. We were seeing KT down about 1,000 gold already earlier on. Now they're closing the gap with some plays. BDD waiting in the brush here. Level 9 already. See that Jelly is going to be leased here. No extra play as Score was spotted going for that play.
If I'm not mistaken, there's no executioner's calling here from Smeb. Might have been a goal thing.
Oh, the flash. Okay. Clid, though. Nice buffer once again. We've seen some very clean Jarvan play today.
Access range is huge on the last breath, but not going to be enough from Score. That means his flash is down. Laners everywhere rejoice. On that bit of information, there is to confirm no executioner's calling. Jace just mainlined what you would assume will be the Yomu's Ghost Blade. Does mean the Khan now level 9. At a pretty decent health total. And Clid wants to slam the Jace into the ground, or at least relieve some pressure with a flash.
Khan's still nearby, and so is even BDD. They're going to spot Khan, but Clid's still in the brush. Definitely thinking about getting aggressive here, but Khan trying to bait it in, not quite able to.
Those are definitely two aware older members, Smeb and Skull, the old man duo here. They're not taking it, they are smelling. But there's a rat going on, and that rat in this case is Prince Jarvan IV. Round all of this, though.
Looking for FLICKR. They can't land anything, as that's a Kali for you. Very, very slippery.
Is FLICKR as well. Nice little side steps there.
Yeah.
So where do we pick up the pieces? Again, Yasuo got the 2 kills, so the 7 CS lead is obviously implied bigger in terms of gold lead over the opponent. Vlad is doing way better than expected in this lane, and Clid is still trying to find ways to relieve pressure on Khan.
Ultimate comes down. Khan's going in for that one. Clid comes out pretty late, but there's the flash knock-up. Smeb trying to trade it back, but perfectly played from Clid and Khan to pick up the kill.
Patience on both sides, but the camp does eventually find its mark, and they do get the kill. Smeb doesn't add insult upon injury like he did in game number 1. Doesn't flash. He goes down, though. A nice moment for Khan, who is so close to stabilizing, potentially turning around this matchup. Unless that execution's calling comes out soon, you're starting to like Khan when you get more points into Tides of Blood.
Just going for that standard build, just building up the CDR. And now they're going to find FLICKR. Oh, man, such a nice scan. Can they finish him off, though, is the question, as everybody's coming from the top side. FLICKR's still alive. Finally, he goes down. But they're going to trade her 1-for-1. Teddy makes his way back. And now it looks like SnowFlower. He's a tanky boy, though. He's going to be fine. Able to walk away from that one. On a ward here is Khan, not quite able to continue the play. Will just end at a 1-for-1, but no Rift Herald, importantly, for SKT.
You see the problem for KT? They try to make an aggressive play. They get early roam from SnowFlower, but the rest of SKT can collapse, and Galio gets to cheat with the hero's entrance. So even when it looks like you have first access to making the roam, SKT is still able more often than not to get there first. So Nautilus has to flash defensively, when if it was any other support, other than, say, for example, Shen, things go different. So watch the replay. Looking for the burst combo, but Cask doesn't hit. The flash is used to get out of Cask range, and that's why there's enough time for the rest of SKT to get in position. Fight goes on from here, and again, SnowFlower, it is really nice roaming from him, but very early in this play, I think the moment that he cast his ult, he realized the jig was up.
Yeah.
The rest of KT couldn't respond as fast as the rest of SKT.
It was a really nice ult, too, actually. Knocked up 3 of them with that one, but as you mentioned, there was no real follow-up as even the Ezreal got there, and you were pointing at the items here of the Yasuo. This is the enemy team Yasuo, of course, 3-0. Already has the static Shiv, building up more crit. Probably at 100 already for the Yasuo, and 550 is the gold bounty. BDD not messing around this time.
I have the ability to check it. I believe it's 45% from items, so 90% with the passive. Yes, it is 90%. Got the confirmation there, so close to 100% crit. You get 25 from all the Zeal items. Now, it used to be the 30, so you would get it just from Zeal item into Cloak of Agility. Turret plates. Seems like a lot of gold was left on the table in this particular game, though. Draven's to cheat later on, so pretty notable. Only 480 gold between 2 teams from plates was picked up after just there being 2,000 plus gold in most of our other games today.
Yeah, definitely uncommon. As the crits come in, BDD really trying to extend his lead here in this map up against FLICKR, as SKT once again thinking about this one, but Score is just so deadly on the Gragas. They want to burst down Khan, but he does get that empowered Q and stay alive. Looks like as the junglers do go down, though, it will only be a 1-for-1 again, but another kill on the Yasuo.
But the hype thing, Valdez, is every time there's a 1-for-1, one kill goes to Vlad, another kill goes to Yasuo, and we already knew from champs that those are the most likely champions to decide the game. So things are looking big there. Still no excuse calling. Smeb might just be dead.
Khan has a blue buff here too as well. Gonna miss the accelerated shock blast, and Khan got hit by that one. He would have been in a bit of trouble, so does respect it, but at least wins the trade.
Score's been trying to play top side, and the only thing I can intuit is it's been a combination of bad back timings, and Score saying, don't worry, let's just take the turret, roam around on the Jace, and it doesn't matter that you don't have the healing reduction for the 1v1 lane. But every time you see trades that should still be at least a little bit in favor of Jace, being stabilized too easily for Vlad, like we mentioned, they just must be getting really aggressive shot calls from BD saying, I'm so strong, fight now, fight now. Because I think Score knew he wasn't getting out unscathed.
BDD does pick up that kill though. Hasn't gone for a back just yet, is going now.
Hexdrinker tells me our suspicions are correct. This is saying, all right, you're not just going to be whacking away on Vladimir in an overextended fashion in the top lane. We're going to try to get you out of lane, either try to make grouping plays or change the lane assignment, because Hexdrinker way more valuable in the side lane against Akali than it does prove against Vladimir.
It's a nice catch and good thought here from Smeb.
If you play to it. If they just keep laning and then your first Tides of Blood takes out the Hexdrinker and the second one kills you, not so good. And playing to items is something that even the pro players don't always do. Getting the zoom out. Drake
Where
has been
is Clid?
An afterthought. The sweeper doesn't catch him, Valdez.
Looking for Score here. They want to go for the dunk. He has a lot of AP, but not that much tankiness. He's going to go down to the Ignite. Gango in a bit of trouble, has to flash away. Nice setup later. Clid in the jungle being his own ninja picks up the kill.
He was way behind enemy lines, but the value he got watching Gragas walk past with the sweeper meant they were always going to get the first kill. Last tick of Ignite kills, and Clid's still going.
Nice smite as well. Clid really wants this one. The knockup from the Galio. It's going to be enough as they greed for the red buff and pay the iron price.
Legit no counterplay to that one. That's a one-way trip to the death chamber for Gango. Enjoy your cleanse, mate. Not going to get any value out of it. SKT can back off, and they're smashing and grabbing. This is some highway robbery in the red side jungle. They killed the Gragas. They get further kills. Mountain Drake and Ezreal taking down bot lane out of turret. A welcome gold injection to SKT to give the most meaningful lead of the game to SK Telecom T1, and only a fed Yasuo can salvage KT's early game.
Won't be the first time that KT have found themselves in the either BDD carries or we lose kind of section. This time, though, it is an insanely fed Yasuo. 4-0, just emoting around a little bit, building towards that IE.
And the just camp mid strategy that's proved here, it has just really been every time Cask is up, every time Flash is up, camp Akali. But Akali got better on the early game at being slippery. Always was a slippery champion. And I think to pull that off, you need to have a lane-dominant Jace build against Vlad, so you don't need to go top side to do any helping. You need to then just allow yourselves to play a mid-bot. But they had to go top more often than they wanted to, and Gragas has died 4 times purely because they've been very, very obvious about how they're playing out this game, and SKT have got wins everywhere that the Gragas Yasuo were not.
Supports just, well, mostly Mata here actually, just running around. Mata looking for it as Score now, thinking about heading down towards the bottom side. Good word spot to Clid, gonna try to take out the Rift Herald here right before 20 minutes. Can he actually do it is the question. Looks like the answer is absolutely yes. Nice timing there to pick up an extra objective on the side.
Good for Vlad to come through, like you say, about 2 seconds away from timing out. Has that animation that starts, I think it's around 54, but it might be even earlier than that. You need to know your timings. Clid gets a face full of damage, but I'm not impressed with KT's game plan around this first pick. Jace, it's lost lane, and it teamfights insanely worse than the Vladimir, who is the god of teamfights the game goes on. So with top lane, Western perspective, and Jace
he's dead as well. Just add that insult to injury, as Hexdrinker not going to help you this time. So he just gets dunked in there trying to take a blue buff. Good ward from the side of SKT makes that possible.
And now it's just the God Cask Yasuo combo. Yasuo kills everyone or you lose, because everywhere else they're not in a great point of power. It feels harsh on Lucian and Nautilus, but it hasn't been about the bot lane this game. They've been patchworking and farming it out. And the pressure lead that SKT will have will just transfer to the bot lane. They have way more to worry about on the TP Vladimir. And then the reverse is true with the TP Jace. So I think SKT, after some worrying moments, have really salvaged this game and just camped FLICKR, as it didn't work in 2013, 2015, or 2016. It's not going to work in this game, barring just some epic heroics, and right now 900 gold lead for BDD on always his way. This guy does not build Sterix. He doesn't care about living. He cares about killing, and he's ready to do some killing. Kill or be killed. Yasuo goes down first. Game's over.
It's very true. He's going to have to shoulder all of the responsibility in this one for carrying this game.
He's Ignite, i.e. Shiv Yasuo. No cleanse, no health, no problem.
I mean, that's what he wants to hear from the enemy as well. You know, he doesn't want them to have any health. They can build a lot of damage, but might just get burst down. We look at the side of SKT. Lots of armor already built. Only three Ninja Tabi actually, but double Zhonya's in the making with the Scepter's Arm Guard. So they've at least built that basic amount of armor to survive the first burst from the Yasuo.
Speaking of first burst,
well, they're looking for this one. The knockup does come in. Not going to use that last breath, though. As the TPs are using, Khan's going in. They want to fight this, and again, Smeb is going to be dunked, and he does not follow his team, and KT can't burst down the Galio.
KT is so greedy. They don't use the last breath on one member, thinking they'll get more, but they're so outcomped in the 5v5 that Smeb just TPs to his doom. Of course he does. Vladimir's coming at the same time. You have to use everything there. Because honestly, I was about to say, if you play to your Yasuo's items, you just need to go for a brush camp and delete one person. Because in a team fight, Vladimir's AoE accidentally kills Yasuo. He's super squishy. Instead, they're too greedy, waiting for an even bigger knockup, and they don't get any kills, Valdez. Too much greed from KT, and after this early game, they can't be greedy or they just straight up lose. Watch the replay here and understand. KT have huge damage around the Yasuo, nothing else. They can't win a 5v5. Vlad TP's in, they don't use the last breath. Mata goes out, and then no surprise, Vlad presses his buttons, and Smeb is just overextended.
Hemo Plague on 2, what looked like 3, maybe it was 2, but it's enough to zone them out. Of course, KT not going to handshake on a fight where they're down 4,000 gold. They feel behind, they didn't get the pick, and the Hemo Plague hits, so. Of course, they just leave Smeb to be sacrificed again. As this Jace, you mentioned it before, really not able to do much, as now we're looking for the solo kill, maybe with a bit of help from our friend Clid. But Smeb, surprisingly tanky, not going to go down.
His entire Maw as topside.
Galio's coming in, they get that knock-up here, good blast, they get the knock-up with the tornado, and FLICKR gets ignited, but they can't take him out just yet. He's gonna get away. Will Mata go down in the sacrifice here? Looks like the answer will be yes, a score. He wants the cask, he doesn't have the cask, as FLICKR will get away, and that will just be the one and a turret going their way.
There's no threat from a Galio on a Yasuo, and as we know, he has godlike damage this early in the game, so someone had to die. You'll take the trade of Mata over FLICKR, but still, you're seeing that KT can only win when Vlad's not there, and Yasuo just wants to kill in 2v2s that shouldn't be possible. If SKT just grew, it becomes so hard, even if the godlike cask hits. Some stopwatches come in, Vladimir AoE takes down Yasuo, and you win. So KT trying to fight around what they have, but it gets more and more narrow. The reliability of SKT's comp should be wielded in advantageous ways. We're going to watch the bot side. This is after, and this is why they make the play, as they can just use Jarvan ultimate, and more Malmortius, not so useful against a Jarvan.
And gets the follow-up there. We get to see how this fight breaks out, too. FLICKR feels like he has the Galio and should be safe, trying to bait it in here, but nice flash and tornado. Pretty much max range to get FLICKR out of the fight, and then Mata just dead.
Feels like this hasn't happened every time, but this is falling into the BDD role-playing ruler situation, given that he has all the kills this game, but he also called all the jungle attention, and hard to say which chicken or egg came first in that particular one. He got the solo kill, so it might have just been lust from score to back up the person who was ahead. Yep. All we know at this present point is that if you don't see BDD, don't walk up. Especially if you have good intel that he's around.
Yeah, FLICKR knows that himself. Has been slowly trying to get his own items. Has the Gunblade working towards the Merlinomicon, as well as that base armor, and Score just hanging around all the time. Looking for it now. Predator comes in.
Yasuo's in range.
Oh, he hits it there, but not quite able to follow up.
Didn't have vision to use Last Breath. We know the allies are back up. Nothing happens there. FLICKR was caught in the Griffin series, not respecting Cocoon, so I think he's being a lot more reliable here. This is going to be one-sided.
Hemoplate comes in, and Smeb is just desperately trying to trade damage as the Headstrinker saves him for now. The flash comes in. Will Khan flash for the kill is the question. The rest of everybody else is coming in. They're going to alley-oop it over to Teddy, who does pick up his first kill.
May have been blind, but it was obvious. Nicely done on the accuracy from Teddy. Pick up the kill. Easy one. Headstrinker, more Malmortius, doesn't do anything in a long lane against Vladimir. You need to do the heavy lifting earlier. That wasn't the decision from KT, but they haven't been able to play to this more Malmortius. It doesn't actually do anything apart from slightly extend the amount of time that you can spend in the side lane. It doesn't help you win more, and they're not grouping to try to disregard a Hemo Plague with it in a 5v5 either, so SKT run at Baron. It's 5v4 and no TP on the Jace.
Yeah. Khan doesn't have Hemo Plague, but he has a lot of CDR. Gonna look to come from behind as well anyway. Flashes over to take out SnowFlower. See you later. As nice wind wall coming in there. BDD trying to extend some of his damage, but he doesn't have the flash. He's gonna get dunked down as well. That's the Jarvan Galio combination as SKT finally grouped for the victory.
The moment you take down BDD, you know the game has been squared up in the best way possible if you're an SKT fan. Now you need to respond to SKT at all moments, and you can't go for the brush camps and cheese plays. The KT need to get this damaged Yasuo into a game-winning spot. So SKT back up to Baron. No one can face check, and this should be Baron. SKT, see if Smeb can start any funny business.
Hemoplague's back, and Mata is the bodyguard alongside that Vlad. Can Score get the steal is really the question.
Gragas bowling, but he's on the wrong side, Valdez.
Yeah, Khan coming over. They're still damaging this Baron. Hemoplate comes in. Gango gonna be zoned down here. Lots of low members of SKT though in the pit. Gonna be up the score to get on in
Watch
there.
for
Nice
this.
taunt. And it doesn't look like there's enough damage. Really nice job by SKT, but SnowFlower now trying to come in and do a bit of damage. Will take out Mana. Down goes the Baron. Over to the side of SKT. FLICKR comes in, gonna dunk one. And the rest of KT that are desperately trying to get on in there are not going to be able to. BDD trying to make a case for this one, but down 2 levels now on the Vladimir, not able to do anything.
And BDD wasn't there, so you didn't even need to look at the health bars. You knew SKT were going to win it and get the Baron. They played the Baron dance as good as possible. AP Gragas, remember, can actually do relevant damage to the Baron over the wall, so the fact that it fell below 3,000 meant there was always the chance it could be the crapshoot smite that would buy KT Rolster some more time. Smart call from SKT to just turn onto the Nautilus and not allow Vladimir to get into an awkward spot. BDD, this time, there's no way out. He's eventually going to be slammed down. But I like how Score played this over the wall. The fact they were doing any damage after 4,000 meant that Gragas could make this close, but it never fell into smite range. Level 13 Gragas can't do 1,200 damage. Right call made on the side of SKT. Clid has to awkwardly go over the pit just to get him.
Yeah.
If that went wrong, it went really wrong. The smite would have been over the wall.
Oh, nice flash knock up here. Clid is so good at making that happen, as a bunch of ults even used to make that happen. FLICKR going to make sure he's dead. And he's going to make sure a bunch of these inhibitors are dead with the rest of his team. Feels like lights out now with that fed Vlad and Yasuo himself not able to do much for KT.
Even 2 Yasuos wouldn't be enough. I think SKT have got this game. They're going to close it. The minions are streaming in, as we can see. This is, of course, good defenders territory for a big Gragas and Yasuo ult. I don't think it's a game changer, though, Valdez. They need 2 or 3 of those, and it might still be too little, too late.
Still going to play it safe. SKT get the 2 and back away. Thinking about going for Cloud Drake now. Make that Elder spawn. Get ahead in this one even farther.
I think SnowFlower took damage, but then the wind wall blocked the projectile.
Yeah.
That was a interesting first-time interaction. Gonna watch the replay. Somebody tells Clid that Gango has no flash. Oh, that was a sick
So
DQ.
clean.
I didn't even know you could flash that late. There's definitely a lockout right at the end, so he was probably, like we're talking like less than 0.1 seconds. Almost too late, right? But he nailed it. That was really beautiful. Thank you for the replay there to fully appreciate how good that is. Try it in the practice tool, guys. It's actually really hard to flash that late on the Jarvan. Another kill goes down. He got the intel. The flash was down, so nice kill picked up there. And now we're just waiting for SKT to dot the I's, cross the T's, and it's KT's time to talk about Game 3 draft.
Hey, you like the idea with the Gragas and the Yasuo and Jay's first pick trying to shut it down, but you remember the first pick response from SKT was the Vlad. They said, hey, I just go cloth 5, I sit back, I sustain, and I'm totally fine. We saw that happen here in this game.
But that's the part that's interesting, Valdez, because Jace is that ultra first pick top laner that has priority forever, blah, blah, blah. Unless Vlad comes online, who will eventually outscale him. But usually Vlad's banned, so we never have to talk about it.
Yeah.
This is one of the few times where SKT subverted the early laning phase. Khan did just fine in the matchup, playing a containment role, and then it went as expected. It's just that the Jace first pick actually had a response Vlad to be sent into it.
That is true. Maybe an oversight there from the side of KT. As if you're going to go for that Jace ban, or pick, maybe change up one of those Lee Sin, LeBlanc, or Braum bans that we went for, as here comes the fight, trying to dunk on it to score as insane damage. Faker nearly goes down, though, but it doesn't matter as Gragas is going to get dunked here. And BDD with that GA is no longer going to have a life.
Unfortunately, Gango doesn't do any damage, Smeb doesn't do any damage.
Yeah.
Everyone can turn on Yasuo, and if he dies, so do KT.
And he died twice with that GA. SnowFlower trying to make things interesting, but of course can't do much. Smeb looking for catharsis here, trying to kill the Vlad, but he's got too much CDR. He's a pretty good champion, gonna boost that win rate just a little bit more, maybe up into 70% territory now, as they really want the kill. Not gonna get it, but they will get the next.
It's so dirty that he had EW again, but of course he did, Valdez. He's late game Vladimir with 45% CDR and more damage than you can shake a stick at. Vladimir did a lot of work here, good macro from SKT to not allow Jace to go forward, but I think KT really squandered what they had. No executioners calling, more Malmortius to look for a team fight that just wasn't gonna happen if you couldn't get a big lead early. Because so early the game was, can Yasuo get 10 kills, or does SKT just win? And unfortunately, SKT heard the call, stabilized a bit, and then it was just kind of sad seeing Gragas in the pocket of Yasuo, and Faker saying, you can't me for a while, but eventually your trick is too obvious, and the party trick that works the first time, it gets the crowd going the second time. By the third and fourth time, you say, hey guys, do you actually have any other tricks? And sadly, the answer for KT is no.
Get the Yasuo ahead, maybe in solo queue it can do some damage. You find a lot of people straggling out there, but not when SKT realize it. They have the Vlad, they wait, they team fight, and they just eventually take you out. You were talking about that ridiculous CDR. He's got that combo at like level 10, okay? So really, really great champ right now in the meta. Glad that SKT do respond with that so that we do get a game 3, which should be a pretty spicy one because KT have proven that they can actually take out SKT as they did in game 1.
And we can't just say it was all Draven because Draven was able to profit later. So we wonder how the game 3 draft will go with KT back on the red side. Damage done, most by Vladimir. That happens, your team won. Just kind of how it always goes. Maybe Root in that one Junior game didn't win, but otherwise it goes that way. Ezreal looks honest in comparison. And the Yasuo was a very, very fed member that had to be feared. Unfortunately, the people around him were kind of fluffing for him, just kind of there and being like, just, giving him the little back rub and saying, please carry us. It wasn't enough.
Definitely was not enough. Very excited to see what can happen on the red side once again for KT. Maybe Smeb goes for another big counter pick. We'll have to wait and see, guys, as we'll take a quick break before game number 3.